This event is an important part of the first ever Animal Health Awareness Week. It's one of the deliverables under the National Animal Health Surveillance Strategy, so I'm really pleased to be a part of it. Protecting animal health is a critical objective in some of the major challenges facing Irish society. These include challenges to international trade, which are currently manifested most obviously by Brexit, but also by current tensions in the trading relationship between the European Union and the US. They also include climate change, because healthy animals are also more climate efficient animals, and public health, and we all know that there are some very lively discussions at present on antimicrobial resistance, for example. So the things that are discussed in this forum this week are of global importance, viewed against that background. Tonight's event has a narrower but an equally important focus. It's about safeguarding our pig and poultry health status. Between them, these sectors were responsible for more than €1.2 billion in exports in 2019. They provide jobs and development in rural areas, and they also support haulage businesses, processing, veterinary services, feed merchants, and a range of other economic operators. And of course, they also provide a decent living and an important way of life for farmers and their families, and that's critically important. For many years now, the development of international trade has been an important part of the strategy to develop Ireland's agri-foods sector. Without a positive animal health status, this trade, and therefore this development, just can't happen. Imagine, for example, where the Irish pig meat sector would be today without access to the Chinese market. This access was hard won and required several years of intensive effort by the department and its agencies. The negotiation process involved an extraordinarily detailed examination of our animal health regime by the Chinese authorities. Every assertion we made about animal health, about production practices, about traceability, was subject to forensic scrutiny. If we hadn't been in a position to demonstrate a high animal health status, we would just not have access to that market, and the same applies to every other third country market to which we have access. And of course, deal or no deal, Brexit will create significant friction along the supply chain for exports of Irish food products to the UK. Building a more diverse portfolio of markets will be more important than ever. For that, maintaining and enhancing our animal health status is a key issue. There are disease threats currently on the horizon for our pig and poultry industries. Everybody in this audience is aware of the threat of avian influenza and African swine fever. My perception is that the department and the sectors are working really well together to mitigate these risks, and it's really critically important that we continue to do that. Apart from satisfying overseas regulators of the safety of our food, selling our products also depends on satisfying consumers, domestically and overseas. Consumers expect their food to be safe, but many now have additional expectations. They want to be sure that animals on farms which have produced their food have had worthwhile lives, and that means that animal welfare standards have been good. They want to be confident that their food products have been produced sustainably. Citizens and retailers and other purchasers of Irish product are now increasingly sensitive to the use of antibiotics in production systems. Responsible use of antimicrobials is the correct approach to protecting both animal and human health, but also chimes well with consumer sentiment and public opinion. In that respect, many of you attending tonight may be aware of last week being World Antimicrobial Awareness Week. This is an annual event supported by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations and the World Health Organization. To mark this event, this department hosted a webinar on the 18th of November, which is designated European Antibiotic Awareness Day. This webinar highlighted the importance of understanding AMR, which is a societal issue. It also described how, although much work has been done in relation to awareness around AMR, continued action to reduce overall use of antimicrobials in the animal health sector is needed. Improved animal health is intrinsically linked to reducing the use of antimicrobials in our food production systems. Whether focusing on the department's forward planning for the entire agriculture sector or the plans of individual farmers for their enterprises, we must take the views of citizens into consideration. Animal health impacts on society in many ways. Better animal health allows us to address many of the concerns of citizens proactively. Good animal health and good animal welfare go hand in hand. Having a good herd or flock health status puts us in a strong position to achieve high welfare standards. Better animal health means fewer animal deaths, avoiding an obvious source of production loss. For some diseases, the losses incurred by visible sickness and deaths are exceeded by production losses in apparently healthy animals. All in all, the better the health of our animals, the more sustainable our products and our businesses will be. Greater attention to disease prevention and to environmental factors provide a basis for reducing the usage of antibiotics without compromising the health and well-being of individual animals. In considering the connection between consumers and the food that they eat, we must also keep in mind recent developments in the area of laboratory testing. Thanks to whole genome sequencing, public health officials can now determine the source of bacteria responsible for foodborne illness with far higher confidence. All of this points to the critical need for disease prevention. In our National Farmed Animal Health Strategy, attention to roles and responsibilities is seen as a key enabling principle. Tonight's webinar reflects the idea of different roles and responsibilities along the supply chain. We have a range of views on animal health issues affecting pigs and poultry, including views from outside of the department as well as from experts within it. In the context of current disease threats, the presentation tonight on animal health in small holdings is particularly relevant. Animal health is everybody's business, and the greater the awareness of the bigger picture among all farmers, the more secure our positive animal health status is. I'd like to conclude by thanking our guest speakers tonight for giving their time to share their knowledge and experience with us. They are playing their part in safeguarding the health of our livestock, in accordance with the spirit of Animal Health Awareness Week. I hope that you find tonight's talks both interesting and useful. With that, I'd like to hand you over to your host for the evening, this department's Michael Horan. Thank you, Michael.